In the kaleidoscopic panorama of contemporary music, few artists have managed to transcend the boundaries of genre, culture, and time as vividly and profoundly as the enigmatic figure of Prince. Born Prince Rogers Nelson on June 7, 1958, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, he emerged from the shadows of the late 20th century, not merely as a musician, but as a cultural phenomenon who would alter the trajectory of popular music and leave an indelible imprint on both the industry and the hearts of millions. In this essay, we shall examine the multifaceted artistry of Prince, exploring his groundbreaking contributions to music, his unique persona, and the lasting impact he has left on generations of musicians and fans alike. Prince's music was characterized by its eclecticism, deftly weaving together disparate genres such as rock, funk, jazz, pop, and R&B into a rich tapestry that defied categorization. His magnum opus, the 1984 album Purple Rain, stands as a testament to his genius, a sublime concoction of emotive ballads and pulsating rock anthems that captivated audiences worldwide. The title track, an ethereal blend of soaring guitar solos and heartfelt lyrics, became an anthem for a generation. Songs such as When Doves Cry and Let's Go Crazy showcased not only Prince's unparalleled songwriting prowess, but also his singular ability to meld the visceral with the transcendent. The sheer audacity of structuring a song without a bass line in When Doves Cry is a hallmark of his inventive spirit. What truly set Prince apart, however, was not just his musical versatility, but his audacious approach to identity and expression. In an era when many artists conformed to commercial expectations, Prince unabashedly challenged societal norms concerning gender, sexuality, and race. His ambiguous presentation, radiating a fearless sexuality, with his flamboyant costumes and distinctive hairstyle, defied the confines of traditional masculinity and redefined the concept of what a pop star could be. This willingness to explore complex themes of desire and identity not only resonated with audiences but also paved the way for a more inclusive and diverse representation within the music industry, influencing countless artists who followed in his wake. In addition to his role as a performer and composer, Prince was also an astute businessman who took control of his artistic destiny. His battle with major record labels exemplified his commitment to artistic freedom and ownership. The infamous dispute with Warner Brothers in the 1990s, during which he famously changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol to break free from contractual constraints, underlined his convictions. Prince's fight for artistic control was not only emblematic of his character, but also a crucial turning point in the music industry, paving the way for artists to seek autonomy over their work. In an age where streaming services have transformed how music is consumed, Prince's insistence on protecting the sanctity of his art serves as an enduring lesson for musicians today. The cultural impact of Prince extends far beyond his musical accomplishments. His films, particularly Purple Rain, stand as a testament to his multifaceted talent, blending autobiographical elements with a captivating narrative that resonated with audiences. The film, which interlaced his music with a compelling story of love, ambition, and self-discovery, garnered both critical acclaim and commercial success, becoming a cultural touchstone and cementing his status as a multidimensional artist. Some may argue that his bold choice to star in the film was yet another example of his refusal to be pigeonholed. He was not merely a musician but a storyteller, an innovator, and a creative force who could traverse various mediums with remarkable tenderness and flair. Furthermore, Prince's influence permeated the fabric of popular culture. He collaborated with a diverse array of artists, from the likes of Madonna to Bruce Springsteen, showcasing his versatility and collaborative spirit. His songwriting credits for other artists, most notably Sinead O'Connor's iconic rendition of Nothing Compares to You, demonstrate his talent for crafting powerful narratives that transcend personal expression. Each collaboration was an opportunity for Prince to push boundaries and redefine the collaborative process, creating an atmosphere where mutual respect and artistic synergy thrived. Prince's live performances were legendary, characterized by their electric dynamism and visceral energy. He had an uncanny ability to forge an intimate connection with his audience, transcending the traditional performer-fan divide. For attendees of his concerts, Prince was not merely singing songs. He was inviting them into his world, transporting them to a realm where music was a collective experience. This magnetic connection was particularly evident in his performance at the Super Bowl XLI halftime show in 2007. Playing in the midst of a torrential downpour, Prince's exuberance and commitment to his craft shone brightly, a moment of pure artistry that captivated millions of viewers around the globe. His performance served as a testament to the power of music to uplift, inspire, and unite people across barriers. In examining Prince's contributions to the music industry, one must also appreciate his role as a social commentator. Through his lyrics and public persona, he addressed issues such as identity, race, and sexuality, often drawing attention to the complexities of human experience that are frequently overlooked. Songs like "Sign of the Times" provided biting commentary on social issues, while simultaneously showcasing Prince's signature lyrical style, a seamless blend of poetic depth and accessible resonance. For many, these songs were not just musical journeys, but also vital explorations of the societal landscape. They encouraged listeners to engage with the world around them, instilling a sense of social awareness that resonates to this day. Moreover, the cultural importance of Prince is underscored by his significant influence on a multitude of genres, which continues to echo through the music of contemporary artists. Future generations of musicians owe much to the trailblazing path laid by Prince. His ability to fuse sounds, daringly challenge norms, and advocate for artistic freedom has become a blueprint for aspiring artists navigating the complexities of the modern music landscape. From artists like Janelle Monáe to The Weeknd, who incorporate elements of Prince's eclecticism and boldness in their own work, the spirit of Prince continues to flicker vibrantly throughout the industry. The legacy of Prince is undeniably multifaceted, transcending the realm of music to touch upon fundamental aspects of human existence. His music called for celebration, reflection, and introspection, inviting listeners to explore the myriad experiences of love, desire, and identity. Through his daring creativity, Prince not only redefined what it meant to be a musician, but also championed the importance of authenticity and self-expression. As we look back at the luminous life and career of Prince, it becomes evident that his impact remains deeply woven into the fabric of contemporary culture. To honor his memory is to acknowledge the richness he brought to music and the social tapestry. Even after his untimely passing in 2016, Prince's influence continues to thrive, reminding us of the power of art to challenge norms, provoke thought, and ultimately heal. In a world increasingly in need of voices that celebrate creativity, diversity, and individuality, the legacy of Prince remains an invaluable beacon, guiding both artists and fans alike towards a more inclusive and liberated future. Prince Rogers Nelson was born on June 7, 1958, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, named after the Prince Roger Trio, his father's jazz band. His parents were both musicians. His father, John L. Nelson, was a pianist and songwriter, and his mother, Mattie Della Shaw, was a jazz singer. This musical heritage was central to Prince's identity from the beginning, though his childhood was far from stable. His parents' marriage was troubled, filled with arguments and tension, and they divorced when Prince was 10 years old. This split deeply affected him, and he would spend years shuttling between their homes, never quite feeling settled in either place. After his mother remarried, Prince clashed with his stepfather and eventually moved in with his father, but that arrangement also proved difficult. John Nelson was strict and emotionally distant, and Prince found himself moving again, this time to the home of his friend Andre Anderson, whose mother Bernadette took him in. The Anderson family provided a stability that Prince's own family couldn't, and their basement became the space where Prince and Andre, who would later become known as Andre Simone, practiced music obsessively. This period of displacement and instability left Prince with abandonment issues that would shape his relationships and personality for the rest of his life. From early on, Prince was extraordinarily driven and talented, teaching himself multiple instruments and writing songs constantly. He was also deeply shy and often teased at school, partly because of his small stature and partly because he was biracial in a way that made him feel he didn't quite belong anywhere. He found refuge in music, practicing for hours every day, developing the virtuosity that would later astound the world. By his late teens, he had already assembled the elements of what would become his revolutionary approach to music. Complete control over every aspect of the creative process, blending multiple genres, and an androgynous presentation that challenged conventional ideas about masculinity and sexuality. His first significant romantic relationship was with Susan Moonsey in the early 1980s, a member of the group Vanity 6 that Prince had created. This relationship exemplified a pattern that would repeat throughout his life. Prince often became involved with women who were part of his musical world, women he could mentor, collaborate with, and to some degree control. He had an intense need to be the center of any relationship, both personally and professionally, and many of the women in his life found this simultaneously intoxicating and suffocating. His relationship with Susanna Melvoin, twin sister of his friend and Revolution bandmate Wendy Melvoin, was one of his most significant in the 1980s. They lived together, and she became his muse during the Purple Rain era and beyond. The song Nothing Compares to You, which he wrote for one of his side projects but which became famous through Sinead O'Connor's version, was reportedly about his feelings when Susanna briefly left him. But Prince's jealousy and need for control eventually destroyed this relationship too. He wanted Susanna completely devoted to him while he maintained the freedom to be involved with other women, a double standard he never seemed to recognize as unfair. Prince's sexuality was complex and deliberately ambiguous in his public presentation. He played with gender norms in his dress and performance style, wearing high heels, makeup, and sexually provocative clothing that scandalized conservative America in the 1980s. Songs like Darling Nikki and Erotic City were explicitly sexual, and his performances were charged with a raw sensuality that made him magnetic on stage. Yet people close to him often described him as surprisingly prudish in private conversation, uncomfortable with crude language, and deeply spiritual. He contained multitudes and contradictions that he never felt compelled to explain or reconcile for anyone else's comfort. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Prince became involved with several women in succession, including dancer and actress Jill Jones, and later Carmen Electra, whom he discovered and mentored. He met Mayte Garcia when she was 16 and dancing in one of his shows in Germany. They began a romantic relationship when she was 19, and married in 1996 on Valentine's Day. Mayte was devoted to Prince, and for a time they seemed genuinely happy. She became pregnant, and Prince was excited about becoming a father, something that seemed to represent a new chapter in his life. The birth of their son in October 1996 should have been a moment of joy, but the child was born with Pfeiffer syndrome, a rare genetic disorder that causes skeletal abnormalities. Prince and Mayte named him Boy Gregory, after Prince's father, but the baby died a week after birth. This tragedy devastated both of them, but Prince's response was to retreat into denial and silence. He refused to discuss it publicly, and even with Mayte, he seemed unable to process his grief in any healthy way. Some reports suggested he didn't want to acknowledge the severity of the baby's condition, hoping against medical reality that everything would be fine. Mayte became pregnant again the following year, but this pregnancy ended in miscarriage. The accumulated grief and Prince's inability to emotionally engage with their loss created an unbridgeable distance between them. They divorced in 2000, and Mayte later wrote in her memoir about how isolated and alone she felt during this period, unable to mourn properly with a husband who refused to acknowledge their pain. Prince would rarely speak about these losses in the years that followed, though those close to him said the deaths of his children changed him profoundly, deepening an already present melancholy. In 2001, Prince married Manuela Testolini, a woman who had worked for his charitable foundation. This marriage was more private, as Prince had become increasingly guarded about his personal life. Manuela was involved in his philanthropic work, and they shared a commitment to humanitarian causes, but this marriage also ended in divorce in 2006. The reasons were never publicly detailed, but the pattern of Prince's relationships suggested he remained someone who struggled with true intimacy and partnership, always maintaining an emotional reserve that kept even those closest to him at a distance. Throughout his adult life, Prince became increasingly devoted to his spiritual beliefs. Raised as a Seventh-day Adventist, he explored various spiritual paths before becoming a Jehovah's Witness in the early 2000s. This conversion surprised many who knew him, given his sexually explicit past work. But Prince was serious about his faith. He began going door to door to proselytize, sometimes not being recognized by the people whose doorbells he rang. He refused blood transfusions because of his religious beliefs, and he stopped performing some of his more explicit, older songs, though he never completely abandoned them. His faith seemed to provide structure and meaning, perhaps filling some of the emptiness left by his childhood instability and his personal losses. Prince was famously private about his life at Paisley Park, his compound in Chanhassen, Minnesota, which served as his home, recording studio, and creative headquarters. He often worked through the night, keeping hours that exhausted his collaborators. He was a perfectionist who demanded total commitment from those around him, and working for Prince meant being available at all hours, ready to record or rehearse whenever inspiration struck him. This intensity created extraordinary music, but also burned out many of the people in his orbit. Despite his wealth and fame, Prince maintained certain modest habits. He didn't drink alcohol or use drugs for most of his life, and he was disciplined about his physical fitness. Though he was known to eat peculiarly, sometimes subsisting mainly on fruit or other limited diets. He was a neat freak who kept Paisley Park immaculate and who dressed impeccably, even when alone. He loved basketball and would host games at Paisley Park, often playing late into the night after recording sessions. These games became legendary, with Prince being intensely competitive despite his small stature. The contradiction between Prince's public abstemiousness and the reality of his final years is one of the tragic ironies of his life. In the 2000s, Prince began suffering from chronic pain, reportedly from years of performing in high heels and from hip problems that required surgery. At some point, he began taking prescription painkillers, likely starting with legitimate medical use, but eventually developing a dependency. He hid this addiction carefully, maintaining his public image as someone who didn't use drugs while privately struggling with an opioid problem that was becoming increasingly serious. On April 21, 2016, Prince was found dead in an elevator at Paisley Park. He was 57 years old. The cause of death was determined to be an accidental overdose of fentanyl, a powerful synthetic opioid. The news shocked the world, both because of his relatively young age and because it seemed so at odds with the image of control and discipline he had cultivated. In the days following his death, details emerged about his pain and his drug use, about missed interventions and the people around him who had become concerned but didn't know how to help someone so private and so insistent on handling everything himself. Prince died without a will, which led to years of complex legal battles over his estate among various family members and claimants. For someone so controlling about his music and image during his life, this lack of planning was surprising, though perhaps it reflected a man who couldn't imagine his own mortality, or who was too focused on the present moment of creation to think about such practicalities. He never had living children, though those who knew him said he would have been a devoted father if given the chance after boy Gregory's death. His siblings and extended family remained part of his life, though he kept even them at a certain distance. His sister Taika was perhaps closest to him in his later years, and she spoke after his death about a brother who was generous and caring, but also impossible to truly know, someone who had built walls that protected him, but also isolated him. Prince's personal life was ultimately defined by paradoxes, a man who seemed supremely confident on stage, but was deeply insecure, who craved connection but pushed people away, who preached spiritual purity while struggling with very human weaknesses, who achieved almost everything he attempted in his art but never quite found peace in his personal relationships. He transformed popular music and broke down barriers of race and gender and genre, but the cost of that singular focus was a life that often seemed lonely, despite being constantly surrounded by collaborators and admirers. Those who loved him remember both his extraordinary gifts and his very human flaws. A small man who cast a giant shadow, but who, in the end, was as vulnerable as anyone else. In conclusion, Prince was not merely a musician. He was an artist, an innovator, and a revolutionary force whose legacy continues to inspire and shape the music industry. Through his unparalleled artistry, fearless expression of identity, and commitment to artistic freedom, Prince carved a unique space for himself in history. As we celebrate his life and work, we are reminded of the importance of authenticity in the creative realm and the transformative power of music, a force that can connect, uplift, and inspire across time and space. The world may have lost a brilliant luminary, but the spirit of Prince lives on, resounding through the chords of his music and the hearts of those who cherish his extraordinary gift. As we look back at the luminous life and career of Prince, it becomes evident that his impact remains deeply woven into the fabric of contemporary culture. To honor his memory is to acknowledge the richness he brought to music and the social tapestry. Even after his untimely passing in 2016, Prince's influence continues to thrive, reminding us of the power of art to challenge norms, provoke thought, and ultimately heal. In a world increasingly in need of voices that celebrate creativity, diversity, and individuality, the legacy of Prince remains an invaluable beacon, guiding both artists and fans alike towards a more inclusive and liberated future.